Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Cimnanya, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about this video I came across. I mean, this video is just everything. All you have to do is just listen. You are going to absolutely, a lot of people are probably going through the or are in this kind of situation and all that, and they can also relate and the rest of it. So she was like saying that, a black woman, like why they are always very mad at black, like, creation of the sassy black angry woman, and talked about how as a black woman, when you are probably in a workspace full of palm colored people and you are okay, sometimes you are not able to express yourself because you can't be too hot, you can't be too cold with them. When you talk, it's either your voice is so high, and when you are not talking, it's either you are ignoring and all that. I mean, all these are the things black people go through in workplace, and this the idea of black women even having to work more in order to, like, to get half of what they get to show, like, it's just like black people in general have to really work harder to be where they are and all that. And I like the fact that she was able to put all this together, and I was able to, like, she really explained this like very well. You know what, let's get into it.
I was wondering how we could break down the sapphire caricature that's still being used to control black girls, and you guys handed it right to me. Disappointed some of you yet again because I am supposed to perform 24/7 black gratitude and limit my thoughts on media and culture to light, easy, breezy take. I am supposed to be miserable looking at things I love, movies, history, and media, and looking at the context that gives those things meaning. And I'm not supposed to be using my time to look at how those stories and histories affect your everyday life, because I'm supposed to spend all my time thanking God that I was born on fifth base. Instead of commiserating with other victims, I should be shopping more than I already shop, and playing more than I already play, and relaxing more than I already relax. Everyone's so concerned with me and my misery. I promise you I'm good. On a serious note, to everyone who is concerned that I am self-victimizing myself, I want to apologize to you on behalf of all the people who taught you to first minimize your own feelings and your own experiences and your own pain. That's not easy. I have famously never been a chill person. As a kid, when I found out about the system for storing chickens in pens, I cried. And then when I found out about human trafficking, I was destroyed. I have always been obsessed with patterns and stories and why we do what we do. It's no surprise to anyone who knows me that I became a student of government and history and politics because not only am I interested in what we do, but I'm interested in why we justify it, how we justify it. My idea of a wild weekend is to go to the same museum 3 times in a row. Last weekend, I went to a museum and I got very jealous and wanted to rip the button off of her. But there's a lady called the Explainer, and her job is literally to yap and talk about everything in the museum to people who come and visit. My life crumbles overnight. You can rest assured you will find me leading a team of explainers at the museum. That's what I get to do here, and I love it. And I love talking about these American stories with you guys. Why does that trigger people, and is that new? Nope, it's not. And today we're going to introduce that little mechanism that's used to shut black women up. Because if they can't own your body, they sure as heck try to own your mind. For my white women and my non-black women and everyone else, this still applies to you, because the mechanism for divorcing you from your lived experiences, that sense of weirdness when you feel something or an unpleasant interaction, that divorce is used to protect prejudice and bias. Being able to gaslight and silence you into never critiquing anything is how they keep you from finding solidarity with other people. The sapphire caricature came out of the 1800s, and it originated with the sassy mammy type. So what this is it portrays black women as angry, bitter nags, emasculating forces, constant complainers, very hypersensitive. Let's remember what black women were historically supposed to be: servile, non-threatening, passive, and unseen. In the 1800s, the normalcy of putting black women in those boxes through enslavement was being politically and economically challenged by the culture at large. Women were being seen in wider culture for the first time as people who might have opinions about what is happening to them. They might not be passive, they might actually be active agents of change. Remember, this was a huge part of Harriet Tubman's success. Her disguise was not necessarily her clothes, it was her blackness, because people saw this short black woman walking around acting like a servant. And they didn't assume she was a danger to white supremacy. They didn't assume she was this great liberator and this spy for the Union. She used that story of her being the serving, docile, quiet woman with no opinions to her advantage, and that's how she liberated so many people and brought the Union to victory. Do you know how many other black women, white famous movie stars, white women used this idea of female passivity to their advantage to get things done, and not only the Civil War but other wars? A great essay, it's free online, it's by Lily Loughborough, and it's called The Male Glance. And it's how, when we look at female works, we tend to not assume intentionality or genius. I think that in a glance, we know the totality of the woman's mind and her work and her genius in this, and it's not much. And if it is genius, if there is complications in it, it's because it was an accident. If you want to say I'm making that up or that that's me self-victimizing again, I would encourage you, take one semester of American history or read one book and you will see this is not the story I would make up. It's very depressing. Back to the sapphire thing. By creating the sassy inherentness of black women, people, the ruling class, could shunt responsibility of the burden of white supremacy and sexism onto the person they were oppressing and not themselves. Black women aren't complaining because we treat them like dogs and they have no agency and there's nothing but violence in the society for them. No, they're complaining because they're inherently, naturally bitter hags. They love being victims, so it's natural for them to be upset over every little thing. What can you expect? They're black women. Worse, nothing's ever good enough for women like that. Why do you think they're emasculating men? It's not because they're challenging patriarchal structures, they just hate men. Sneaky thing about creating this caricature is that the ruling class could create this illusion that looked like that they were in a society, that they had created a society where black women could blow off steam safely. Truth was, politically and economically, they still had this massive social power and grip to violently keep black women silent and make sure that they couldn't complain about what was being done to them. During this time, there was a ramp up of terrorism on black people by white supremacists, lynching, all sorts of things. It was extrajudicial violence that said, don't complain, don't look the wrong way, and don't you dare blink, because if you do, we will unalive you. As the federal system was freeing black people, the control and violence that you needed to uphold the power structure of old, it had to be privatized. If you have this idea of sassy black women, you can pretend to be way more generous than you actually are. In reality, if you challenged the social system as a black woman, you were punished violently. Jim Crow Museum said it best, and I'm going to read it to you now. The sapphire's desire to dominate and her hypersensitivity to injustices makes her a perpetual complainer. But she does not criticize to improve things. Rather, she criticizes because she is unendingly bitter and wishes that unhappiness on others. The sapphire caricature is a harsh portrayal of African American women, but it is more than that. It is a social control mechanism that is employed to punish black women who violate the societal norms that encourage them to be passive, servile, non-threatening, and unseen. How convenient is that? You, rich black girl, who have an issue with a racist server, you're not a patron paying good money who just wants to be respected. You're hypersensitive. When you're a researcher in film and media and you critique a film's sexist message, you're not a professional with a critical thinking mind. You're just a nag. You are upset with a backhanded compliment from a colleague. You're not somebody who has inherent self-respect and want to be treated as such. You're somebody who needs to grow up and just handle things. Undermining of your critical thought is how the social power that you recently just got in history gets chipped away at. I was going to call you a sapphire to your face, but this is an idea that hasn't gone anywhere because the majority of Americans have not unpacked the assumptions, racist beliefs, and the things that they've inherited from generations of people. Sapphire accusations are super useful now because it helps handle this social transformation of black women from long-suffering victims fated to just bear pain to human beings who can assert their own personhood and agency. A way of both accusing us of not taking what we can get, but also being upset with us for not bearing things well. We are no longer good victims. We're not supposed to complain about anything because we have it so good. I will be the first to admit I have it really, really good. Embarrassingly good. Don't miss the part where I am thrilled and I get to choose with my own free time that I want to make media about American history and politics. Maybe you're not used to seeing it, but this is what ease and happiness looks like on a black girl. Joke is on me for thinking I could fit all this into one video. The tricky thing, though, I will say about sassiness is that if it's earmarked as unnecessary and hypercritical and hypersensitive, what that does is it makes existing power structures that are oppressive not seem as oppressive as they actually are. because we're not reacting to something real. We're overreacting to something small. Sassiness can be cute, it can be feisty and adorable and something acceptable, and therefore still in control of the ruling class, still something that amuses those who are on top. In short, there's nothing in short about me. To end this, if we're sassy and we're adorable and just little complainers and princesses, we still have it really good. And there's nothing to actually tear down or attack. Do you think the sassy mammy caricature ended like in the 1800s where it began? I am not so happy to inform you that if your grandparents were born any time between the 30s and the 40s, they got a good dose of that. And that was probably one of the first understandings of what Black women were. And if they are not like massive anti-racist activists, they probably haven't rooted that out of themselves. And so it's still zooming around in this community. You're going to have to finish this tomorrow, but I would like to know where people tell you that you have been self-victimized and if you're being just sassy and angry. Said I'm really grateful for all of you. You guys are wonderful, and it is so much fun discussing these things with you. See you later.
So this is all I got from this, and trust me, this is absolutely an interesting one. And number one is that I think I don't know why they keep being why they get triggered, when they see Black people or Black women being all sassy and all that. They're always like an angry woman. I mean, I don't know, but I have seen places where Black women probably work and all that, and when you talk, you are raising your voice, and when you are calm, when you are not talking, you are isolating, right? So there is no how you can get it right, when you are not supposed to speak loud, you are not supposed to keep so much calm and all that. I am sure this particular story or this really tells a lot of people's life and all that. And one thing is that trying to know the history, because when you get to know your history, you definitely it will help you to navigate the future, and this is some people's experience, and I hope that one day, Black people are just gonna be completely free from all these, challenges and all that, because there is no how you do them. There is no how you cannot. I don't know how to say it, but you can never please them, especially when you are in their midst, especially when you are working with them. That's why I see a lot of Black people when they work with colored people, and after work, they don't want to hang out with anybody. They just straight up going home. They don't want to mix up. If it is not work, we are not talking. So if it is work, we work at it. But if it is not work, they don't want to do anything they wouldn't want to do anything with colored people, and that shows you how history has really taught them so many things. And one thing I know for sure is that if you know your history, trust me, if you know your history very well, you definitely will know how to navigate, and you sure will not make a lot of mistakes, because you already know some certain things, and you know how they act at every point in time and all that. So I really love her, the way she explained the history and the media analysis and all that, and the amount of thought she put into the context she shared with us is really amazing too. I love it. If you want to follow her, why not? Let me know so I can drop her link, because I might, if you don't remind me, I might forget to put her link when I'm posting the video. So just let me know. She did a very great job, and it's very, very insightful, and I appreciate the content, So as we all know, I am sure, do I need to explain more to, Black people already know how to do or deal with all this. It's just some other people, there are so many things I have learned, following Black content creators and listening to their stories and all that. They try to warn other people ahead of time, but I think some of us are ignorant, and when we are ignorant we tend to make mistakes, and because we don't listen, we think some certain things are good for us, well it is not good for us and all that. And we sometimes when black people try to talk and they are like, you all always want to, like, tell us what to do and what not to do and all that. It is because they have experienced some certain things firsthand. That's why when I see them, like, when I see some pop color people go to Africa, try to wear their clothes, try to do their dance and all that, and black people are telling you people this is how it starts, and some are like, no, it is just, they know what they are saying. They know what they are saying. So I think it is time we start, not even me, because I already learned a lot from them, but other people really, they need to start learning, because, and I see a lot of, some of them sometimes experience, we cannot teach them. I see some of them that relocated and boom, they start experiencing most of the things African Americans have been experiencing, like that kind of racism that will shock you. I remember one Nigerian who actually went to, I think she lives in the United Kingdom, and she went out to the store to buy something. I can't remember where exactly, about she was there trying to buy something, and some colored women invaded her and were like, cuckoo, they were making like, monkey sound and telling her to go back to where she came from, like saying so many nasty things, telling her you black this, you black, But then when they were telling us that this is what we used to experience, we did not understand, or we never listened to them, or we thought they were just trying to make it up and all that. So in essence, what I am saying is that we keep learning, and that it's on period. And I love the message. It's a very great one, and just all you have to do is just listen to it, and you definitely will grab something out of it. Thank you so much, and see you all in my next video. Bye for now.